And let's get this party started. All right, here we go. I promised you guys a good workout tonight. Last week, we did our famous card workout with our cameo appearances by a few people. That was a fun workout, as it always is. So I had mentioned that one of the things that we didn't do in that workout last week was we didn't have any sprint efforts. So tonight we're going to focus on that. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to do some varying types of sprints. It's going to work the muscles in a different way. And it's also going to give you the ability to start working on things like if you're riding in a group and you kind of get dropped off the back a little bit, you need just a little bit of effort to get back on that wheel. This is going to help you to develop those skills to be able to do that. Obviously, sprinting hurts if you're doing it all out, but we're going to do a number of different types of sprints in different gears with different levels of intensity, and we're also going to do them of different durations. So that's the other piece, is you have to know how far you have to go to get to that whatever sprint point. We still do it, Randy and I. Those of you that might know this is town signs are obviously a sprint point. So when you're racing or with people that race, if you're let's say you're on a team ride and you see a town sign in the distance, no matter what, everybody will start sprinting for that town sign. Or when you come to a state line sign, that gets you even more points. So it kind of makes it fun, but you also have to keep it safe while you're doing it. So these are fun little things you can do on the bike. If you're with a group, you can say at the beginning, let's see how many town signs you can get. And if you don't want to participate, then just take yourself out of the game. But you have to obviously do it safely if you're on roads that have traffic. I would avoid it altogether. Only do it when you're out on those country roads where there aren't a lot of people. So right now, get in your easiest gear. You should be in your small ring in the front, at the top of your cassette in the back, or something where you're not going to be putting a ton of effort into this, because we just want to warm up the body. You got your fan, your towel, your full water bottle or two. Make sure, this is one thing I was thinking as I was getting ready tonight, is one of the things that I find that some people sometimes do is they tend to lace up or click in their shoes too tight. So if you're really ratcheting down that shoe, if there's too much pressure on your feet, it actually is not a good thing, because you do have nerves that run through your feet, and you can be pressing on one of those, which will cause your toes to go to sleep. Your ball of your foot might get into that. So make sure that your shoes are tight enough that your foot's not pulling out of them, but please don't over tighten your shoes. That is not a good sign or a good thing to do. So find that place. I know almost instinctually where that spot is where I need to stop clicking the shoes in. So keep that in mind as you put your shoes on for a workout. You might find, though, too, if you're riding, let's say in the spring, and it's a little cool, you're wearing thicker socks, you might not tighten them as much because your socks are taking up more room. So be conscientious about how you are tightening your shoes, because it does make a difference. All right, so we're going to get this going. We're going to start off with some standing and sitting efforts just to get our bodies warmed up. We want to make sure that we're warmed up well before we get into these sprint efforts. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to be in our big ring around the middle of your cassette. So go ahead and get there. We're going to stand for 30 seconds and sit for 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Just start to feel the muscles engaging. You should be in your hoods. Your hips should be over those ankles. Your head should be looking forward. I'm only looking down because I have to see our time. And feel yourself get comfortable here. Go ahead and sit back down. Stay in that gear. Force yourself to push this a little harder gear than you like. We want that lactic acid. Start building up a bit. Warming it up. 3, 2, stand it up. Your shoulders shouldn't be up at your ears. You should be relaxed. Allow your muscle strength to keep you in the position. If 30 seconds is too much, then you can sit down, stand back up again, sitting down, for real. Think about that good, even pedal stroke. This is where you start to think about form a little bit. Feel a little burn in the legs. And up. If you feel like you need a little bit more gear under you, sit back down, shift, then stand back up. It's really tough to shift while you're standing on the pedals. A lot of force on the chain when you're standing up, sitting back down. Keep those feet light. I don't want you to be pushing into that pedal. I know I preach that all the time, but it does make a difference. Stand it up. 3 minutes in, 2 to go. Stay focused. This is just a warm-up. Sitting back down. We got one more time to stand up. And then we'll get right in to our sprint efforts. Last time standing, and up. Hopefully the legs are feeling a little bit more open at this point. You might have a little burning still happening. That's okay. Sitting down, last 30 seated. Check your cadence, see where you're at right now. Three, two, small ring, all the way to the top. Take a drink. All right, so here is how this is going to go. The best part about an effective sprint workout is that you have adequate rest. That is the key to being able to continuously force the body to do these short, hard efforts. So the nice part is you're going to get plenty of time in between each set to recover. So during that portion, as I always say, use it as a rest period. Sit there, spinning at a cadence that is nice and comfortable in a gear that's super easy so the legs can fully recover for the next set. So you've only got to give me 3 10-minute efforts. That's all I'm asking for tonight. And each one of those is going to have a set of 10 sprints of varying distances or varying durations. So the first group is just going to get us started. We're going to do 10 5-second efforts. You're going to be in a relatively hard gear, just enough to kind of spark the legs a little bit. And then we're going to spin them out for 55 seconds in your small ring. So lots of big ring, small ring tonight. Hopefully you don't drop your chain. If you do, just pay attention to where your chain is crossing so that you don't lose that chain. Or if you just want to stay in your big ring and go to the top of the cassette, we just want you to have a light gear for the rest period. So in like 30 seconds, we're going to do a 5-second sprint. You don't have to go there yet, but you're going to be in your big ring and around your 14. So you should have 2 or 3 gears under, closest to your frame, under your chain. So you're not all the way down to the bottom of the cassette. You can go there and shift up 2 or 3 just to get a sense of where you want to be. So we're going to put some of these seated, some of these standing. When we stand, I want you to be in your drops. When you're seated, you can be also in your drops if you wish. So go ahead and get in your big ring. Find that low gear, somewhere around your 14. Let's stand for the first one. In your drops, 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Just push it out. And sit back down. I'm going to just shift to the top of my cassette, leave it in the big ring so that I can get an easy gear in between. Keep my cadence around 85 or so. So you notice how short that was. What I want you to pay attention to is try to get a different foot starting each sprint. Now this is just enough to get you started. Then as I said, we're going to get longer and longer sprint durations. But our gearing's going to change because definitely sprinting doesn't always happen in your hardest gear. All right, back down to that gear. 3, 2, let's go. Out of the saddle. And easy. You're barely getting your legs moving. The really fun part about these workouts is tomorrow, your legs will actually feel pretty springy. And that's because you've just given them enough effort. You haven't really forced the issue too much, but you've given them enough to get the legs to be happy. All right, this next one, I want you to stay seated. Go ahead and find that gear. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Push from your glutes. And easy. Now it's different when you're sprinting in your drops than when you're sprinting in your hoods. The difference is when you're seated in your drops, you really have to engage the glutes and the hamstrings. Turn those pedals over. When you're upright, you're not cutting off those muscles as much, and the whole leg will work to get that sprint to happen. And of course, when you're standing, you have your whole body pushing down on the pedals. All right, go ahead and find your gear. Another one seated. 3, 2, let's go. Just 5 seconds. And easy. Told you there was going to be significant rest on these. So if you haven't had a chance to watch the men's hockey game from today, it's worth a watch. They're paying Sweden to get into the semifinals, and I won't give away the ending. It is worth a watch. And the women, our hockey team, are in the gold medal match tomorrow at 1:10. So go home early. Find that gear. Standing for this one. 3, 2, in your hoods. And seated. Feels a little different when you're in your hoods. We're coming up to the halfway point. Now, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. If you're on a kinetic trainer and you're not on a smart trainer, if your back wheel feels like it's slipping on the resistant unit, just jump off your bike for a second, turn that knob. You want like a half a turn tighter. That'll help to keep your wheel from slipping when you stand up, especially. All right, find that gear again. This one's going to be standing in your hoods. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Feel the power sitting back down. Right when you're just getting into the power, that's when you're getting stopped. You'll have your chance for you to go farther, faster. Now, if you have any metrics, power, even speed, it'll be fun to watch those metrics and try to match them with each one of these. When we get into the next set, that'll be a better way to go. Find your gearing. In your drop standing. 3, 2, let's go. Sitting back down. Nice and easy. That was the 6 minute. You only have 3 more to go. If you need a drink along the way, don't hesitate to take it. You know the rule. Finish that bottle by the end of the night. All right, find that gearing. In the drops again. Standing. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And easy. Now here's the key when it comes to sprinting. You will be pushing a little harder on the pedal than you would typically. But the part that is the key is the turnover. So getting up and over that pedal is what's going to keep your cadence high and your effort strong. So you've heard me mention that track racers had to increase their cadence because they only have a fixed gear to get themselves to go faster. Find that gear. 2 more to go. In the hoods, standing up. Let's go. Sitting back down. So these sprints are about getting your cadence to increase as quickly as possible. You'll notice when we get into the longer efforts, it might be worth it to do a build effort. So 5 seconds, a little harder 5 seconds, a little harder 5 seconds. All right, we got 1 more 5 to go. See if you can make it look like the other ones. You pick the hand position. Find that gear. 3, 2, let's go. All right, back to top the cassette. Finish it out. Stay in your big ring or wherever you are. It shouldn't look any different than the others. We'll finish the full 10 minutes. And then you're going to get a nice 3-minute break. So believe it or not, this was kind of the workout I would do. Maybe not as long as this, but I would do something like this the day before a race. Just to open up the legs, get them ready for what's to come. You're in your big ring, back down to your small ring, find an easy gear, take a drink. Let's spin it out for 3 minutes. This is also a good workout to do if you're traveling to an event, a race, or something where you've been maybe sitting for a long time. Add this in to the day before the event. A lot of people have the misconception that the day before an event you should do nothing. Well, all you're doing by doing nothing is shutting the body down a little bit. So there's this gentle balance between doing too much the day before and doing just enough to prepare you for what's to come. So you gotta be able to gauge that by doing these kinds of workouts in your training and testing them out by saying, let's say you're doing a triathlon and it's on a Saturday, and that Saturday you're going to go out and you're going to run 6 miles and you're going to ride 50 miles and do a workout like this one for like 30 minutes and see how you feel the next day. So test the waters. It's always a good one. I always find for myself, like if I've been not riding, maybe I went somewhere over the weekend, visit my family. A Monday workout for me might be something like this, just to spring the legs back into life. Keep that in mind. All right, here's how the next one's going to go. I told you there are 3 10-minute efforts. It's going to look almost completely identical. This time, you're going to do 10 by 10-second sprints. But what I want you to do here is we're going to do 5 of them consecutively seated, 5 of them consecutively standing. I want you to lighten your gears just a touch. So if you were in your 14, 15 for the last one, I want you to go up 1 or 2 easier gears in your big ring for this next one. So we're going to keep this one a little longer, same kind of effort in between. So that 50 seconds recovery, make it a recovery. And again, just like the first set, I didn't really emphasize this as much. But on this one, if you have that metric, try to follow it so you can get yourself to stay and present me with some beautiful trainer art. All right, so find your big ring down to around your 17, so a little easier gear. We're going to do 10 seconds of seated for 5 in a row. So you can be in your drops or in your hoods. You get to decide. 3, 2, 1, let's go. It's a sprint. 5 seconds down. And 10. Easy gear. Spin it out. Now a little more cardio. Just came into that one. You might notice your calf muscles engaging. You'll notice your heart rate's gonna rise. And if you want to gauge it, see how fast it can come down. That's the other part that you can look at. All kind of metrics that will help. All right, find that gear again. In your drops. 3, 2, let's go. Seated. 5. And 10. Easy gear. Now, I noticed for myself on that last one that my right leg was so dominant. I could feel it, almost pulling the left leg around. So, if you feel that, I want you to concentrate only on the weak side. Say to yourself, pedal stronger with that weak side. And if you do have, find that gear. 3, 2, in your drops, let's go. And down. Nice and easy. If you're using a Garmin and you have any device that has power, your device might tell you the amount of percentage that you're pedaling each leg. So you might be pedaling 45% with one, and 50% with the other. So look at how that pedal stroke is going. Use those metrics to help you get better. All right, find your gear. These feel like they're getting shorter. In the drops, let's go. 5 down. And 10. We got 4 in. 1 more seated. And we're going to move to the standing efforts. Not sure which one's actually harder. Sometimes I feel like seated is harder because you're really having to use your leg strength to get through that sprint effort. All right, find your gear. 3, 2, go. Seated. Last one, seated. 5 down. 3, 2, 1. Easy gear. All right, the next 5 are going to be standing. 10 seconds. Same gearing. I don't want you to be in a super heavy gear. If after the first one you feel like you just need just a bit more resistance, shift to one harder gear for the next one. All right, you're at the halfway point. You're going to be in your hoods. Find your gear. Standing. 3, 2, 1, let's go. We'll do a few in the hoods, few in the drops. Sit back down. Easy gear. Again, if you need to take a drink, take it. Hopefully you've been paying attention to some metrics, trying to reach the same wattages. Of course, your gearing will also affect your power output. All right, find that gear. In the hoods again. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Standing. Cadence high. And seated. So what's the first thing that we do when we do a hard effort? We all go like that with our face, right? This next one, I want you to keep that face relaxed. Just let the legs work. Convince yourself it's not hurting. You're looking for leg speed. You want to go fast. All those positive aspects. All right, find the gear. Again, in the hoods. Standing up. 3, 2, let's go. Keep your mouth open. Nice and relaxed. Sitting back down. Woo, see how much different it was. And you told yourself it wasn't so hard. And your face reflected that. All right, with the last 2, we're going to do them in the drops out of the saddle. Now in the drops, again, it changes your position, changes the way you use your muscles. Remember your core, it needs to engage. Find that gear, down in your drops, and let's go. 5 down. And seated. Woo! Legs are getting warmed up. Hitting some nice wattages now. That's how it should go. So I can hit a higher wattage in the drops than I could in the hoods standing up. Because the legs are in a position of power. All right, the last one. Let's go in the drops. And here it is. Come on. 3, 2, easy. You're not done yet. Stick with it. Turn your fan on. If you don't have it on already. I'm sure you do. Almost done with this effort. 5, 3, 2, small ring, easy gear. Woo, take a drink or 2. You got 3 minutes. All right, so hopefully you're feeling a little different for those 10-second efforts. Now, for your last 10-minute set, yes, you guessed it, 15 seconds. But this one, we're going to go even one easier gear because I want you to be able to get your leg speed high, and then you have to hold it for that extra 5 seconds. So 15 seconds doesn't seem like a very long time. But when you're looking at the clock like I am, sometimes it feels like an eternity. So I'm going to give you 5 every 5, if I remember. And you can build the effort. What I don't want you doing is I don't want you busting out of the gate and then dying after 2 seconds. So that's the last thing you want to do. So if you ever watched a track racer, I love to watch sprinters like the 100-yard dash, where they're in the blocks, and when they start to run, they're so low, and as they get faster and faster, their bodies get more and more upright, because with each step, they try to get themselves to get to that position of feeling at their fastest. So you want to do the same thing here. You want to build that 15 seconds. So it'll look, if I were to look at it afterwards, it should look like a little tiny mountain. And you want to hold yourself back just a touch for the first 2, then 4. Then as you go, you're just going to get faster and faster and faster for that 15 seconds. So this is where the real control comes in. And that's the same kind of control that you want to use if you've gotten dropped off that wheel. You don't have to sprint back there. you can allow yourself time to close that gap. And that's another reason to do these with such precision, is it might feel like an urgent thing to get back on that wheel, but it's okay to give yourself time to gradually get up there. All right. So again, you're going to be in your big ring. Whatever gear you were in last time, I want you to shift up to one easier gear, or maybe even two. You can gauge it after the first one. So what we're going to do, 15 seconds for the first one. Be in your hoods, standing. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 3. Let's go. I'll give you every 5. 5 a little faster. Last 5. And sit back down. Now, you're not going to get as much rest this time. You're only going to get 45 in between. So the next one, let's go out of the saddle in the drops. You get to that maximum by the 15th second that you got in the 10. That's what you're looking for. Find your gear in the drops. And let's go out of the saddle. 5 down. 10 down. And seated. Woo! Little burning action on that one. Take a drink if you need it. This next one, you're going to stay seated in your hoods. Find your power with this one. Find your gear. 3, 2, let's go. Control. 5 down. 10 down. And easy. Woo! Next one will be in the drops. Seated. Now, if you feel at any point you want to shift gears up or down, you're welcome to do that. But I want you to try to stay in the gear as long as you can. Find your gear. And then drop seated. And let's go. 5. 10. And 15. Woo! Lots of wooing on this one. If you're not sweating, you're not going hard enough. I know Chris is sweating. He has his hood on and his jacket and the heater and his booties, long pants. He is determined. All right, almost halfway there. Find that gear. Standing in the drops, let's go. 5. 10. Sitting down. Halfway. Oh, yeah. These last 5. This is when it counts the most. When you get the most adaptation for the workout. The last 5, we're going to do in the drops, standing. Find your gear. In the drops. Let's go. 5, 10, 15. Easy. Oh, yeah. Burn, baby, burn. That was a burner for sure. Now, in between, I've been keeping my cadence at 90. That's just where I like to go. Find that right. Easy in between for you. Find your gear. In the drops. And let's go. 5, 10. Sit back down. Woo! Those last 3 seconds. So if you're a sprinter, you've got to know what distance you can manage. Can you go from 50 meters, 100 meters, 25? 100 meters is a long way to go. I used to awe at a racer who was a sprinter. Find your gear. In the drops. Let's go. 5, 10, 15. Her name was Tina Pick. She was a sprinter. She could sprint from 100 meters and win. Most good sprinters, maybe 50 to 25. It was amazing to watch her go from that distance. 2 left. Find your gear. In the drops. Let's go. 5, 10, 15. Woo. Take a drink before the last one. All right, make this last one your best one. I'm going to give you free reign to pick whatever gear you want, whatever hand position you prefer. Give me 15 seconds of all out. 3, 2, let's go. 10, 3, 2, 1. Stay in that gear. The one that you've been recovering in. Don't shift to that easy one yet. Keep the legs moving. You're in your big ring, remember. Shift it down a few gears before you go to that small ring. And come on out. Let's recover a little bit. We'll finish up with our last couple of minutes to cool down. So finish that water bottle. I want you to get your legs, as we always do at the end here. Find that place where your legs are not working at all. You're just spinning them, allowing your heart rate to come down, the sweating process to slow, the recovery to happen. If you're super sweaty, pay attention to your sweat rate. So whatever you feel that you have sweat today, you need to replace that afterwards with some hydration. As I've always preached, that recovery source is the perfect way to replace that. So the same thing happens when you're outside and it's super hot. You sweat a lot. You need those 5 nutrients to help the body recover from losing all of that fluid. That sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and a little bit of electrolyte, which you can get in various drink mixes out there. Just make sure you're reading the ingredients. If you're not comfortable with monk fruit, stevia, which I am not, then a good source, and I am not sponsored by them, but I do have a pro deal with Scratch Labs. Their mix actually has pure sugar in it, and they have all those nutrients that I mentioned. So really read your labels, not just on your drink mixes, but your protein mixes. If you're taking creatine, anything that you're putting in as a supplement, make sure those supplements don't have a ton of ingredients. So if you look at some of the, let's say bodybuilders, for example, they use a lot of supplements. And when you look at what's on the label, half of the things you can't pronounce. So if you're taking a protein powder, find one that might be grass-fed, one that has very few ingredients, maybe 4 or 5 at the most, or just has 100% whey protein. So we got a couple of more minutes just to cool us down. If you feel like you're pedaling too fast and your heart rate hasn't come down, then go ahead and slow that down a bit. We will get us done right on the nose tonight, maybe a minute over. That'll get us a good recovery, a good warm-up, good recovery, and a good sprint effort. So if you haven't been watching the Olympics, I suggest you watch some of it because it has been pretty exciting. There's been highs and lows on all ends. And that's what it is. That's what's about sport. Some days you got it, and some days you don't. All right, 1 more minute, and then we will be done. Finish up what you have in that bottle. I'll have to come up with something creative for next week. We might have to do a Olympic biathlon. So we'll do various events and how you have to like get behind the sled in the bobsled and run like a sprint for however many seconds they do that. Then you have to be a cross-country skier and go hard for who knows how long. Those guys are so cardiovascularly fit, it's crazy. I'm gonna come up with something creative. All right. That is calling it a night. Good job, everybody. Here's my fan. Oh, yeah. Save your workout. Make sure I can see your trainer art. Ooh, that's what I love, trainer art.